Hari Bol, Nittai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivracharya Suprasata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Chandra Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधारा श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की, श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की, वृंदावन धाम की, मथुरा धाम की, नवदीप धाम की, श्री जगन्नाथ स्वामी की, यमुना माई की, श्रीमती तुलसी देवी की, सामवेद भक्त वृंद की, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदी. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutle Srimati Bir Krishna Goswami Niti Namni Namo Hamsa Nikashaya Prabhupada Priyate Sudashti Nishtabem Tasya Vakya Nuvadine. Okay, good morning and Hare Krishna to everyone. Welcome to this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. Brought to you from Sri Radha Gopinath Temple, North Sydney, Australia. Welcome to all our Mayapur online TV viewers, as well as ISKCON Sydney YouTube and Facebook. So this morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's on Canto 3, Chapter 30. Chapter 30 is titled Description of Adverse Fruitive Activities, which is a very interesting title, Description of Adverse Fruitive Activities, and we are reading from text 8. Yes. Oh, can't see. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nasta Prayashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Okay, that's a long word. Akshiptat mendriyastrinam Akshiptat mendriyastrinam Asatinam cha mayaya Rahorachita yalapai Rahorachita yalapai Shishunam kalabhashinam Ashiptat mendriyastrinam Asatinam cha mayaya Rahorachitaya lapai Shishunam kalabhashinam Akshiptat mendriyastrinam Asatinam cha mayaya Rahorachitaya lapai Shishunam kalabhashinam Akshiptatmendriya strinam asattinam chamayaya rahorachittal yalapai shishunam kalabhashinam akshiptatmendriya strinam asattinam chamayaya rahorachita yalapai shishunam kalabhashinam akshiptatmendriya strinam asattinam chamayaya rahorachita yalapai shishunam kalabhashinam Ashitapmendriya strinam asatinam chamayaya rahorachitaya lapai shishunam kalabhashinam. Okay, the words akshipta, charmed, atma, heart, indriya, his senses, strinam, of women, asattinam, false, cha, and, mayaya, by maya, raha, in a solitary place, rachittaya, displayed, alapai, by the talking, shishunam, of the children, kala bhashinam, with sweet words. Okay, translation of the shlok for today. Translation by and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so he gives his heart and senses to a woman who falsely charms him with maya. He enjoys solitary embraces and talking with her, and he is enchanted by the sweet words of the small children. Okay, so we can all repeat. He gives his heart and senses to a woman who falsely charms him with maya. He enjoys solitary embraces and talking with her, and he is enchanted by the sweet words of the small children. Okay, so that describes Grihastha life actually. So, the purport. Family life within the kingdom of illusory energy, Maya, is just like a prison for the eternal living entity. In prison, a prisoner is shackled by iron chains and iron bars. Similarly, a conditioned soul is shackled by the charming beauty of a woman, by her solitary embraces and talks of so-called love, and by the sweet words of his small children. Thus he forgets his real identity. In this verse, the words strinam, asattinam indicate that womanly love is just to agitate the mind of a man. Actually, in the material world, there is no love. Both the man and the woman, both the woman and the man are interested in their sense gratification. For sense gratification, a woman creates an illusory love, and the man becomes enchanted by such false love and forgets his real duty. When they are children, as a result of such combination, the next attraction is to the sweet words of the children. The love of a woman at home and the talk of children make one a secure prisoner, and thus he cannot leave his home. Such a person is termed in Vedic language a grihamedi, which means one whose center of attraction is home. Grihastha refers to one who lives with family, wife and children, but whose real purpose of living is to develop Krishna consciousness. Okay, so there is a differentiation, Grahamedi and Grihastha. Grahamedi means one who is whose center of attraction is home. Grihastha refers to one who lives with family, wife and children, but whose real purpose of living is to develop Krishna consciousness. So that's a good differentiation. I had not gone across this before. So one is therefore advised to become a Grihastha, not a Grahamedi. The Grihastha's concern is to get out of the family life created by illusion and enter into real family life with Krishna. Whereas the Grahamedi's business is to repeatedly chain himself to the so-called family life in one life after another and perpetually remain in the darkness of Maya. Okay, so Mangal Charan. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sva Padantikam Vande Ham Shri Gurum Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishbhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is an interesting topic. It's a matter of question for many of us because time and time again there's a question of varnashram, what is suited for us, whether we are an eternal brahmachari or brahmacharini, or whether we are suited for grihastha, or whether we are suited for what's the other, or next one is the one where you renounce vanaprastha, and the last one sannyasi. So let's do this process of elimination. Sannyasis, Hare Krishna. Sannyasis is not recommended in the age of Kali Yuga, and it is by the special mercy of Srila Prabhupada that we are able to make it that far. So a person, I think, would instantly realize whether they're made to be a sannyasi or not. So that is easily answered. And in many cases, the answer is no. However, with Srila Prabhupada's mercy, many of our gurus, acharyas, they had initially said, no, we cannot do it because they were just young boys, 22 years old, 25 years old. Not more than that. It's very rare for them to reach in their 30s. So, but by special mercy of Prabhupada, they were able to do that. But for most of us these days, it kind of rules it out. We have to be practicing for a long time before we hit that stage. And for ladies, they can become a sannyasini now, after Her Grace Narayani Mataji had taken this to be a Diksha Guru, which is sort of still in controversy. But however, ladies have made that far. But it is rare. So by way of elimination. Now vanaprastha is for those who have already married and are ready to take a renounce from family life. That is also not so often that happens, unless one is really, really seriously into practicing Krishna consciousness. So majority of us are in that category where it falls, whether you will be a brahmachari or a grihastha. Now obviously we've read the purport today, and Grihamedi means one who is into family life but not into Krishna consciousness. And Maya is what it is. for the Grihamedis who are not into Krishna conscious. Maya means obviously that which is not. But Maya also means one who has forgotten about Krishna, does not remember Krishna. So for us who are listening to this class or are in the temple, obviously Grihamedi is not an option, right? Because you're all practicing Krishna consciousness. So that leaves two options. One is Brahmachari and one is Grihastha. So Grihastha option, I'm going to be talking about, I was going to read from the Srimad Bhagavatam and teachings of Lord Chaitanya, which I might still do, but just to give explanations or from my experience over the years of Krishna consciousness. I feel like an old lady now, but I have been around for a while, so I have been able to observe how things progress with our devotees from the Brahmachari level. So one very funny and very nice example was this of this Brahmachari who was a very strong disciple of Tamal Krishna Maharaj, one of the best. And amazing, his schooling was not as far as a PhD or a degree, not even a degree, yeah. But he taught himself the shlokas, and these shlokas would just spill out of his mouth like water. So amazing. And very, because Tamal Krishna Maharaj trained his disciples so well and strictly, he also followed very strictly. So he was someone who we looked up to. And he made devotees by the hundreds, many. And so his austerity was very good. Effulgence was there. However, he didn't marry. But his nature is that of Grihastha. So what I'm trying to point at in a very subtle way, and my Guru Maharaj says it very clearly in a very distinct way, it's called your psychophysical nature. Your psychophysical nature is your nature. You engage yourself according to your nature. If you are not engaging yourself according to your nature, you are out of your element. You will not be happy in the situation you are in. So this Brahmachari, he had a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. So he decided to take the responsibility of being a Brahmachari. And over the years, his nature overtook, his psychophysical nature overtook his service and austerities. And he started running around with ladies in secret. Because on one side, there was his responsibility, and it was a huge responsibility. People looked up to him, including me. But on the other hand, he had a need for marriage. So once that kind of thing happens, everything goes in chaos. Because there are ladies who are suddenly become stuck in illicit relationships, and they become contaminated. And the wonderful Brahmachari with such top level austerity also falls down. So what I'm trying to say is not to criticize him, because his amazing service has seen him through the rest of his life. He's now happily married, but after a lot of objection, he married because he was attached to his service. Now, if he had married on time, then that period of contamination, of chaos in the temple, because devotees stopped sending their daughters to the temple. Devotees stopped sending their wives and their daughters-in-law to the temple. So that's chaos. And then, the deity worship was affected. And the curtains, instead of opening at 7:15 sharp, started opening at 8:30. Deity was affected. Deity worship was affected. The prasadam that was cooked, bhoga, was made by very unclean people, because there were ladies who were practicing unclean things. So then the prasad got affected, and those who ate the prasadam was eating the karma. So consuming, so everything just started like a chain reaction, like dominoes, one after another, everything started falling. So then this chaos. So the bottom line conclusion is always stick to your nature. Don't play around with it. If you need to get married, do it. Because the consequence of it is kind of chaotic It doesn't affect only your life, it affects everybody else's life surrounding. There is a reason. So your nature. Now there is nothing wrong about marriage. Like it is saying in the book today, Grihastha life, as long as you are Krishna conscious, you're practicing bhakti, you're worshipping Krishna with the aim to spiritually progress, is fantastic idea. It is meant for you, so get married. Now there are those obviously who are by nature brahmacharis, and they don't have a need for marriage, and so they stick with it and they last. So they're in their element. And the same goes for the ladies. So now the ladies are a little bit different in the sense that Srila Prabhupada set some standards. He said for ladies, as a child, she must be protected by her parents. As a young lady, she will be protected by her husband. And as an older lady, maturing, she will be protected by her sons or daughters. And then in the end, she will take up Krishna consciousness, or she will leave her body in the name of Krishna. So ladies are meant for that, mostly. There are some exceptions to the rule, according to Srila Prabhupada. The exception to the rule is if the lady is exceptionally qualified in bhakti, she may renounce herself to service of Krishna. And in that case, she can elevate herself to the level of sannyasini. They are very rare, small percentage. Now these ladies are very often confused by the other kind of ladies who are not Krishna conscious. Prabhupada clearly explains the difference between the two kinds of ladies. One lady who is not Krishna conscious obviously cannot reach up to a sannyasi level, and they are considered inferior. The word he used exactly was inferior. However, those ladies who have taken up intelligence, they are intelligent obviously, Krishna consciousness, they are superior. So they are meant to be respected. So seeking association here, I was listening to my guru's class this morning, so I'm going to relate to you what he said. And the way he had started was that what he's about to say might offend a lot of people, because grihasthas are attached to their wives, their children, in the form of love. Here in this book, it says it's false love actually. It's in Maya. Because we are in a material world, our real purpose, our real love is to be attached to Krishna. So then in his class, he said, then what do you do? So that was a very bitter pill to swallow, actually. He had said that really your wife is not your wife. Your son is not your wife in reality. They all belong to Krishna. All jiva souls belong to Krishna. So the enjoyment is actually very temporary. You would have come across this, chewing the chewed. Have you come across chewing on the chewed? So what he said about that was this Maya. Maya is obviously the internal potency of Krishna. Maya, Mahamaya, there's two Mayas, Mahamaya, Yogamaya. Yogamaya is the one who functions in the spiritual world, organizes things for Lord Krishna, the pastimes. So she will put the spiritual beings who are residing in the spiritual world under certain illusions, so the Leela can progress. Krishna can meet Krishna, Radharani and the gopis and the gopas, and they think they're parents of Krishna. So that's Yogamaya, and it is only reserved for those who have acquired the spiritual body in the spiritual kingdom, not for us. Mahamaya is an expansion of Yogamaya, and it's meant for us, the material world. So Mahamaya gives us a little bit, this is in my Gurudev's class this morning, she gives a little bit of taste, the chewing on the chewed, for us in the material world. So then, because our innate nature, we are spiritual beings with a soul, is the sense and tendency to enjoy, they will taste this because they like it. Because our nature is to enjoy, but not here in the material world, in the spiritual world. So when Maya gives us a little taste of the enjoyment, we love it. But it finishes, it's temporary, very temporary. So what we do is we try it again, and again, and again. And it doesn't really give us any satisfaction. We kind of get disillusioned. And the reason for that, in Hindi, we call it jhatka. In English, it's like an electric jolt. It suddenly gets removed from you, and that's your wake-up call. Hey, wait a minute. This is not really enjoyment. Then we say, oh, this is not really my wife. This is not really my child. Actually, it's very bitter pill to swallow. It is the truth, actually. It's on a high spiritual plane. We can, very rarely can anyone get to that point where they think of their wife as not their wife. So then the question becomes, there was a discussion in this morning's class on relationships, a man and a woman, illicit. So there was, this is from Jaiva Dharma. He's reading Jaiva Dharma. So in Jaiva Dharma, there is a question asked by Vijay. He is a disciple of his guru, which I can't remember the name now, sorry. But anyway, he asks his guru. So then he says, who is a pati? Pati is an Indian word, husband. Who is a husband? So this was on discussion of illicit and legitimate, relationship. So obviously, illicit relationship is one where the man and woman are involved and are not married. They have a relationship without marriage. And illicit relationship is with marriage. So the disciple asks Gurudev, who is a pati? So pati is one that was answered is who accepts a maiden's hand in marriage. That's a pati, who accepts a maiden's hand. So if he doesn't accept a maiden's hand in marriage, then he is not a pati. He is an upati. So, but in our material world, it is unacceptable. But in the spiritual world, it is a different thing. And there are questions asked, so this is very deep, the Jaiva Dharma. It's asked, how come Krishna is dancing with someone else's wife? Or how come Krishna is, not married? There are two types, parakya and what was the other one? Parikya. So those two, now parakya are Krishna's ladies who are not married to him in Vrindavan. There is one in Mathura that Krishna is not married to, but it's parakya. Anyone can guess? There is one in Mathura. He meets this lady in Mathura who puts sandalwood pulp on him and asks him to visit her house. Kubja. Yeah. Krishna visits her. Although in Mathura he doesn't have parakya, but there is one exception, Kubja. So, and in Dwarka, they are not parakya, they're I can't pronounce it as Swakya, that's right, Swakya. And they are married to him. However, both are acceptable in Krishna's world because they all belong to Krishna anyway. They all belong to Krishna anyway, and they are expansions of Srimati Radharani, and Radharani is the internal potency of Krishna anyway. However, we cannot claim to own anyone. So for us, even our husband or our wife is not really our husband and wife, if you really look at it, because they don't belong to us. So then, if we have, this was the question he was discussing, if we have relationship with somebody else's husband or somebody else's wife, that is a definite fall down. Extremely low category. Very low category. And I, for one, if I see some wife playing the mirdanga for a young man and extremely attached to him and taking prasadam with him, I will question her, what's going on, which I have done in this temple. Because I said, there is a reason, that's a very shameful behavior, I told her. And she objected to it because she's married. So it happens, even in the temples. And I'm going to read to you. There was a young girl who said to Srila Prabhupada, there is Maya in the temple, she said to Srila Prabhupada, a young girl. And Prabhupada started laughing at her. He said, can you tell me any place in this world where there is no Maya? And let's go there. Let's all go there. And the answer was that actually there is no such place in this world where there is no Maya. The only exception, then Srila Prabhupada explains, is that if someone takes up Krishna consciousness seriously, then they are not in Maya. Because, now let's look at this very carefully. They are not in Maya. Why? Because they are constantly in service of Krishna. They are constantly Krishna conscious. In other words, they are not forgetting Krishna, they are remembering Krishna. So then they are not in Maya. As soon as you stop your service, you forget Krishna, you get back into Maya. That's the difference. So Srila Prabhupada explained to the girl, he said, my disciples who are members of this temple are all Krishna conscious, therefore they are not in Maya. That's what he said. So always serving Krishna. And that's how you protect yourself from Maya. Basically, she will test you. Her job, Mahamaya, her job is to test you because she will screen out and reserve the very best for Krishna. And she will try to keep you back, hold you back, actually. She will give you lots of attractions. And the best way is to maintain your devotional service. That one and the first point that we had discussed, remain in your psychophysical nature. In other words, if you are suited for brahmachari, stay as a brahmachari. You know yourself better than anyone else, and the only person who knows you better than you is your Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj automatically knows, by the way. He will look at you and you will know straight away, because they're at that level, that you are qualified for this or not. They will look at you and they'll say, qualified for initiation or not. Even though nobody has told the Guru Maharaj that this person, maybe sadhana is not so good, needs improvement. I'm not saying that person will never take initiation, but they just need to work on it a little bit more, because the idea is to be consistent. Guru Maharaj will know straight away. And Guru Maharaj will also know that this person needs to improve their association. He'll know. And so in his class, my own Guru Maharaj hit on this one about association. He said, I don't want to offend anyone. That's how he started off his class. He's in this topic. I don't want to offend anyone. I might get into trouble. But it is really, who are you associating with? Because some devotees actually object. I have a right to associate with a married woman. She's my friend. Or I have a right to associate with a married man. It works both ways. They object. Why? Because the taste of Maya is so attractive. They want to chew on the chewed. So in Jaiva Dharma, it was actually described a woman or a man is unchaste or practicing illicit life if she is married or unmarried, a married lady who forgets her married vows that she took before the Lord and forgets her husband and gives herself to somebody else. This is very heavy and very delicate topic, Jaiva Dharma. The book, even my Guru Maharaj said, when you read it, it gets to a stage where he has told us, I'm not going to, at a certain point, I'm not going to take this anymore, because the topic is so heavy and delicate, it is not meant for everyone's ears. So from that point onwards, he is going to read another book. So he only takes us to a certain point, because it gets beyond our understanding, the Parakiya side of things, as far as Krishna is concerned. As far as we are concerned, we don't even go there. It is a definite no-no. Our religious principles tells us to follow Lord Ram's principles. Lord Ramachandra ek patni vrata. And that is the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, but even of our own spiritual master. And that's how far we should go. In order to protect oneself from Maya, we always have to make sure that we are practicing Krishna consciousness. So I was going to read from the teachings of Chaitanya, not Chaitanya Charitamrita, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And I was going to talk about Maya. But where is it? So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited a very nice verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. And the shlok is a reference of that shlok. This is from the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And in that, it is explained. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited a nice verse. This is in terms of Maya. From Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.37. 11.2.37, and that is the part of instructions of Narad Muni. Now, Narad Muni's instructions are fantastic. We come from that line, by the way. We are living the teachings of Narad Muni. So, his instructions to Vasudev, the father of Lord Krishna, in this verse, which Narad Muni quotes from the instruction that the 9 Yogendras imparted to Maharaj Nimi, Maya is defined as forgetfulness of one's relationship with Krishna. Actually, Maya means that which is not. So there's 2 definitions. One, that which is not, and the second one is one's forgetfulness of the relationship with Krishna. Thus, it is false to think that the living entity has no connection with the Lord. We all have. And this was this thing, you know how we always talk about Bhakti Lata Bij, right? Somebody has to activate it. Who activates it? You? Krishna? What does Bhakti Lata Bij mean, by the way? Devotional, your devotion to Krishna. Yes. Bhakti. Yes, association with pure devotee, love for Krishna. That's Bhakti Lata Bij. So, all of us have it. Even the most drunkard karmi outside, who doesn't even hear about Krishna, they've got it. Everybody has, even the ant, the cockroach, everybody has it. Now, the operative word in that is it's lying dormant. It's dormant. It has not been awakened yet. So who activates it? This is actually from the class this morning, actually. So I was sitting outside and reading, listening. The person who activates it, whether it is in a lion or in a karmi or a drunkard or a woman or a man or a child, the person who actually activates it, triggers it, brings it to life, in other words, no longer dormant, is a Vaishnav or is a guru. And Krishna sends that guru. So we need that. So in relation to that, because that bhakti Lata Bij is your relationship with Krishna. Really. The forgetfulness, we've forgotten. So what we need to do, if you haven't taken up, is a guru or a mentor or Vaishnava. Association, like Mataji was just saying. Association. Sadhu Sangha. So I've tried to do a little bit of that Sadhu Sangha for Tuesday evening Kirtan. There's a Kirtan, but the idea is that for those of us who are new to Krishna conscious can actually take advantage of association, Sadhu Sangha. And it's reinforced by the holy names of the Lord. So you do need 2 things. You need to chant, purify yourself, you need association. So we need to... Actually, there are like more than 2,000 devotees in Sydney. How many are there? 2,000? We should all be chanting Hare Krishna, all of us. So we should have 2,000 devotees in the temple. No, not really, but there should be more Harinam, like chanting, congregational chanting groups, because it's the holy name that purifies us and makes us remember Krishna and keeps us out of Maya. So, just to continue, he says he may not believe in the existence of God. This is when somebody is in Maya. He may think he has no relationship with God, but these ideas are illusions or Maya. Due to the absorption of this false conception of life, a man is always fearful and full of anxieties. You look at a man who is Krishna conscious and you look at a man who is not. There is one very distinctive feature that defines that actually points out one is a devotee and one is not. Say they are both wearing the same clothes. And no one has the tilak or anything, no kantimala. But you can just straight away look and say this one is a devotee and that one is not. And the difference is because one is in anxiety and the other one isn't. That's it. The devotee will be in like complete happiness and bliss. Krishna is taking care of it. I'm not in anxiety. The non-devotee will be like fearful. What's going to happen to my life, my money, my wealth, my children? They're all in anxiety. So that is what it is. And so he forgets the constitutional nature of his relationship with God. He is at once overwhelmed by the external energy, Mahamaya. This is the cause of his false ego, his false identification of the body with the self. Indeed, his whole conception of material universe arises from this false identification with the body. So there's a lot more description. If you want to read that part of Srimad Bhagavatam, it's quite nice. 2.37. There was another one that I wanted to point out very quickly, and this is from Srimad Bhagavatam 6.196. Now, I wanted to mention this one because a lot of us practice this outside. My mother used to do this. This is called Maya. Also, this I'll quote this. Srimad Bhagavatam is 6.19.6. In this, since Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, is the Lord's precious potency, she is addressed here as Mahamayi. The word Maya means Shakti. Lord Vishnu, the Supreme, cannot exhibit his power everywhere without his principal energy. It is said, Shakti, Shaktiman, Abheda, the power and the powerful are identical. Therefore, Mother Lakshmi, goddess of fortune, is the constant companion of Lord Vishnu. They remain together constantly. One cannot keep Lakshmi in one's home. This is what I wanted to talk about. One cannot keep Lakshmi in one's home without Lord Vishnu. To think that one can do so is very dangerous. To keep Lakshmi or the riches of the Lord without the service of the Lord is always dangerous. For then Lakshmi becomes illusory energy. With Lord Vishnu, however, Lakshmi is the spiritual energy. So one is Maya. So we try to inform everyone. No, don't be in Maya and worship Lakshmi without Lord Vishnu. Yes. And there are some devotees, I won't mention who, because over the years I have come across one or two who just likes to worship Krishna without Radharani. And that's Maya. It's dangerous. Then one falls into illusory energy rather than spiritual energy. So we've got to be very careful. So worship Krishna with Radharani. Krishna cannot exhibit his power. Lord Vishnu cannot exhibit his power without his energy, internal energy, mentioned here in the Srimad Bhagavatam that I kind of came across. And if we worship, then we get into, if we just worship Radharani or worship Lakshmi Devi, then we get into Maya. So that was another thing. So always remember Krishna. Always do your devotional service, never stop. Whatever it is. I try to make it to this class because this is our service, but it keeps me hanging on. You know, being attached to the Srimad Bhagavatam is not a bad thing. So it keeps you, remembering Krishna. As soon as you close your eyes, you see Krishna. You don't see anything else. So that is my message for the day. Make sure you stick with your psychophysical nature. Always keep up with the devotional service. Don't worship Krishna without Radha and Radha without Krishna. And, associate with the Guru or someone who can activate your Bhakti Lata Bij. Are there any questions or comments? Yes, Prabhuji. Yes. 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 Already. Yes.
My question is, when we're doing devotional service, is there a necessity to directly think of Krishna or meditate on Krishna while doing the service?
Okay. So for the benefit of those who are listening on Mayapur TV, the question is, it's an interesting point that Bhakti Lata Bij is lying dormant because the most understanding is that the Guru plants the Bhakti Lata Bij in a person. Actually, in Jaiva Dharma, I could not give you the reference at the moment, but it is written in there. If you listen to Bir Krishna Goswami's class for today, as of this date, if you go on his YouTube, you'll see that part of Jaiva Dharma where it is stated that the Bhakti Lata Bij is lying dormant in everyone. So that's one point Prabhu had said. The second point is, the question actually is, how can, what was the question? How can someone do a devotional service and meditate on Lord Krishna at the same time? Or is it, the question is that can we do devotional service and meditate on Lord Krishna at the same time? Okay. Okay. So the question is it required that you meditate on Krishna when you're doing your devotional service? Or is it not required, you just completely do your devotional service? My take on this is that it will be difficult to meditate. It's not a requirement because it will be difficult. Meditating on Krishna is kind of on a high level. Like gopis, they are meditating on Krishna and doing their service at the same time. For us, it is not so easy. So we are in the material world, we are practicing devotees. We are basically practicing how to be someone like the gopis. So we are in a practice mode. So we tend to focus more on devotional service. We tend to focus more on devotional service while thinking the main objective is to please Krishna, but not to spend the time on meditating Krishna so much, because I don't think we are at that level. Hopefully, I am not offending someone, but we are not able to do that like the gopis, to meditate on Krishna and devotional service with the same intensity. So the general instruction that I received from my spiritual master, and he uses this example a lot, is the lady who works in the bank in a cubicle all day and counts money and stands, and she's in a little space. And she, all in that little space, she puts a photo of her children or something, or family, and she does it for the family. So she's able to tolerate standing in a little cubicle. Nowadays the banks don't have those cubicles, but standing in that cubicle all day, she tolerates it for the children. So, and he says our goal as a devotee, our goal should be standing in the cubicle so that we can facilitate our devotional life, spiritual life. Or we can be of service to Krishna. Our money or our time can go to Krishna. Not all of it, obviously, but to facilitate your bhakti. So your devotional service also should be along the same lines, that I'm doing this devotional service for spiritual progress, for my benefit. However, the service attitude is very important, because I'm doing this service not just to serve Krishna, but to serve Vaishnavas and the living entities. Because Krishna is, the whole point is to please Krishna. So then the objective, while you are doing your devotional service, should be obviously one to please Krishna, but serve devotees, serve the living entities. Because what pleases Krishna the most is the highest level of service you can do is to serve his Vaishnavas. So for those of us who are aspiring to please Lord Krishna in the best way is to actually serve the Vaishnavas. So I'm not taking it as an example, but not as an example to praise myself, obviously, but the whole point of doing the Tuesday Kirtans was to facilitate those devotees, not myself. So I went in my little way, not a big way, just to help them get regulated in the chanting, connect somehow, and help them, and then they can help others, and then they can help others, and others, and others. So it's like a chain reaction. But you do that, that's just a small example. We could even help a lady cross the road, or if somebody is homeless, give them shelter, or if somebody is hungry, give them food. Krishna is most pleased with those kind of services, rather than going directly and meditating on him and doing some service, and he will say, well, what about the hungry Prabhu who's waiting in line and waiting for prasadam? You're trying to meditate on me. So whenever we do devotional service, the underlying understanding is we are there to please Krishna, we are there to serve Vaishnavas. Then that will automatically, spiritually, you will be climbing ladders and stairs without even knowing. Yep. Does that answer the question? Yes. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you for listening. Srimad Bhagavatam Puran ki jai. Srila Prabhupada.